This is Emily, president of Self Advocates of ADEC and podcast host. Welcome to another episode of our monthly podcast, Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. This is your host, Emily. Well, we brought a very special guest from the very beginning of the podcast. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was one of the first guests, and we had so much fun. I think we're talking 2 or 3 years ago, but I jumped at the chance because we had so much fun last time. I love being here, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's great to see you again. Yeah, I remember you were really excited to decorate your house.
I am.
for Halloween.
Absolutely. Still am. Yeah, we'll get to that. But so real quick, for Christmas this year, we had a 35-foot inflatable Santa in my front yard. That was my new Christmas decoration this year. Think about that, 35 feet, which seems like a really good idea until it's windy. And then it's not such a good idea. But yeah, so we live in a neighborhood where it's all about decorating for Christmas, and so we had a 35. We have a 2-story house, and it was bigger than my house. I'll show you pictures when we're done. Yeah, it was, again, looked better on paper because it seemed fun, and then the wind and the storms came, and it wasn't great. But yeah, a lot of fun. And so Halloween's coming up, and we're about to start decorating for Halloween.
All right. Yeah, we were wondering about that, actually. When is the best time to decorate for Halloween?
Well, so I have a different answer than my wife does. I would start this afternoon if I could. We have 13 Halloween inflatables. I have the bushes. I put orange lights on the bushes. My wife makes me wait. So I'm going to push her for October 1st so we can have a full month of the decorations up. But if I had I would always have something up in my yard. I would start today if I could, but my wife, makes me wait a little bit. But I'm hoping October 1st we can have an entire month of Halloween up in my house. But we do a not so scary Halloween. We don't do anything scary. We don't do skeletons or fire breathing dragons. We do Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and friendly ghosts and big giant pumpkins. And so it's real important to us that we don't do scary Halloween. We do fun Halloween.
Yeah, I get that totally.
Yeah.
Because, you want, kids to come by.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want them, to be scared of your house. And so, it's very important. So Walt Disney World does a not so scary Halloween where they do kind of fun things. So we kind of model after the Disney not so scary Halloween, because you're right. Halloween's about kids coming trick or treating, and you don't want them to be scared coming to your house.
Yeah. I was wondering what kind of challenges you faced in the industry.
The biggest challenges were the hours of working. So the great thing about radio is it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not the same job every single day. The bad news about radio is it's not a 9-to-5 job. So we're working Christmas morning. Back in the day, now it's completely different with computers and all sorts of things. But back when I started, somebody had to be in the studio every single hour of every single day pushing a button. And so we worked, Christmas morning and Easter morning, and we worked birthdays and anniversaries and weekends and nights, and I worked overnights. And so the biggest challenges were trying to get over the hours and kind of regulate your body. And once I got further in my career, but, even the morning show, I would get up at 3:30 in the morning every single day for the morning show. That's really hard because you can't be up till 10 or 11 o'clock at night and then get up and do the morning show. So the thing about radio is the hours are really, really tricky and challenging.
Yeah, not many people do it, but some people do.
Yeah, and it's fun. I loved it, and that's why it was easy for me. And I am a morning person, so I like to get up and get the day going. But yeah, it was tough. There were some mornings when I was in the shower at 3:30 in the morning, thinking, "What in the world am I doing? Why am I doing this still?" And but it was a great job and fun job. But yeah, the hours were certainly challenging.
Yeah, I bet it was challenging considering, you want to be with the kids.
Correct.
Do you have a memorable moment from your broadcasting career to share?
Oh man, so many. Yeah. I just have been really lucky. I've interviewed some really cool people. Probably the most fun we ever had was every year we'd broadcast live from Cedar Point. And so we'd go to Cedar Point the night before, and we'd ride all the rides. So if we broadcasted on a Friday, we'd go in on a Thursday. And we did this actually at SeaWorld in Orlando too, but you had a guide, you had a staff member that would take you to all the rides, and you would get right on them so you could talk about them on the air. So always live remote broadcasts were fun. We did Cedar Point, we did Six Flags Great America in Illinois, we did SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida. So yeah, the live broadcast when you could actually leave the studio and go out and do fun things live, those were the most memorable.
Yeah, I believe that. Personally, like I would consider that to be like a dream.
It was, and we brought the kids. The Cedar Point thing was a lot of fun until we were on about the 13th roller coaster in 90 minutes, and this old man was ready to be done, but because we were the people that would walk in the exit. So I always felt bad because, we've all been at roller coasters where you've waited in line for 2 hours and you're next to go, and somebody else comes up from the outside and they get the next ride. Well, we were the next ride. We were the VIPs at the time, and so they would just literally take us in the exit, and we would, if there was a train waiting, we would get right on it and we would take off. We'd get off that one and go to the next one so we could ride as many rides as possible. And but yeah, it was a dream come true. It was a lot of fun, and they were really good people.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of those commercials like on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We just got back from Disney. We went to Disney 2 weeks ago, so we just got back from Disney.
So like, recently, that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, so since the last time we talked, I became a grandfather. I know what you're thinking. You're way too young to be a grandfather. You're right. So we have a baby girl. Her name is Reagan Page. And Emily, I'm telling you, man, I thought I knew what love was before, but until you become a grandfather, especially to a little girl, you have no idea what love is. This little girl has stolen my heart. So she's 15 months old. She lives locally, so I get to see her all the time. And her sister's on the way. We've got baby number 2 coming up in about 6 or 8 weeks from right now. But so the greatest thing that I've done since we talked last was I became a papa to Reagan Page.
Congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Yeah, it is just I've had a really good life, but this is the greatest thing I do every day is be a papa to that little girl.
Yeah, in a way, I kind of get it because, like, recently, my brother just had a baby. So, like, I'm
so
an
you
aunt.
know, you're an aunt.
Yeah.
I love that. Aunt Emily.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Babies are so cool, aren't they? They're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 1.5.
That's what Reagan is. She's 1.5. So crawling around, kind of babbling, not quite making words, but babbling, thinking about walking.
Do you have any advice for aspiring radio hosts or podcasts?
It's radio these days it's really hard. Again, as I mentioned before, it used to be so right now I'm also on 7 different radio stations in 5 different states.
Insane.
From my house. So I have a studio in my house. So I do a radio show in Maui, Hawaii, in Nashville, Tennessee, in Dothan, Alabama, in St. Joseph, Michigan, in South Bend, and in Fort Wayne, all from my house. And so it's really a tough business to get into these days. COVID was really hard on all businesses, but it was really hard on radio. And radio has changed in that back when I started, radio was the only place to get your music. If you think about it, you couldn't get your music. There was no Spotify. There was no YouTube. Heck, there was no internet.
No internet, no streaming services.
No streaming
nothing.
services. And so radio was the only place to get your music, to get your news, to get your school closings. Well, that's not the case anymore, right? I would imagine that most people listen, for music on Spotify because there are no commercials, there are no disc jockeys, or Sirius XM radio, satellite radio. So it's just really a tough business to get into. As I mentioned before, it used to be where we could work Christmas morning or Easter morning or New Year's Eve, the shifts that nobody wanted to do, and so it was easy to break into the business. Now it's really hard. Again, I'm on 7 different radio stations in 5 different states from my house, and so those are 7 jobs that I'm taking from people. And so it's just, I always do career day speeches in high schools and talk to people that get into broadcasting. It's just a different animal than it used to be, and so it's really hard. My advice for anybody trying to get into broadcasting, just look for any opportunity to get yourself, in the door. If you're going to school for it, man, learn everything you can. Learn production, learn on air, learn music scheduling,
The
learn
editing, the audio.
editing, all of that stuff, because you need to be, in this day and age, you need to be a jack of all trades, as they say. It's no longer just being on the air. When I was in it, I was just the morning guy. I would come in at 4:30. I'd be on the air at 5. I'd get off the air at 9. I'd be home by 9:15 or 9:30. That was my day. I didn't do anything else but just the morning show. That isn't the case anymore. You're the morning guy. You're the production director. You're the, parking lot cleanup guy. I mean, you're everything. And so
The
it's
audio engineer.
all of that stuff. And so you need to learn all of that if you're getting into the business. Try to learn as much stuff as possible, because you need to know it.
Yeah, there's a science to it. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a tough business to get into these days.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for having me again. This is so fun. It's so good to see you. You do such a great job. I love this. I love being here, and I really appreciate you asking me back. I was so excited when I saw the email came through, and this was just as much fun as the first time. So thank you for having me. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being my friend, because my life is better because you're in it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's true. Nux, baby, right there.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And this has been Expert Tips by Self Advocates. Thank you, Mark, for coming.
Thank you. The pleasure was all mine.
Thanks for tuning in and hearing from your neighbors with disabilities. Check out next month's podcast for a new guest and topic. I am Emily, host of Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. See you next month.